Welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today I'll be your host. Today we're talking about the NFC predictions. Let's start off with the NFC East. And so I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be the team to beat in this particular division. I know they dropped a tough one in Monday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons, tied for the second most as far as comebacks. I think Atlanta and the Philadelphia Eagles, ironically, are tied for the most fourth quarter blown leads at 4. But I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be a lot better. Obviously, you saw that drop from Saquon Barkley. I think that he is certainly going to be an upgrade for them. Right now, they're without A.J. Brown, but they look just fine with Devontae Smith out there. So I think that they're going to be fine. Jalen Hurts looks a lot better than he did last season. I think that they can win this division. The Dallas Cowboys, I think that they're next. I think that the real issue with them is defensively. I think it's going to be challenging. I don't think that it was a one-off to what happened to them against the Saints. I think that they are going to struggle defensively now that Dan Quinn is not there. They're learning a new system, and so I think that that is going to be tough for the Dallas Cowboys. And also, too, I'm not really sold on the fact that they don't necessarily have the same type of running game that they've had in the past. The offensive line isn't as good. I'm fine with Dak Prescott, and I'm also okay with CeeDee Lamb out there, but I don't think that the Cowboys are going to win it with Dak Prescott passing it for 40 times a game. So that's what is really kind of a bit scary for me as far as picking the Dallas Cowboys long term. There's a chance that they could possibly win this division over the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think the Eagles are a better team. Next, the Giants. I think the Giants are the worst in the NFC East. They just gave up a loss to the Washington Commanders. Defensively, they're not very good. Offensively, they're not very good. And I think that they're going to find out that they should have probably went after another quarterback. I'm not sure that I believe in Daniel Jones long term here. And I think that they are going to have to make some major adjustments. The Washington Commanders, I'm actually a bit more impressed with. I think that looking at Jaden Daniels in his week 1 to week 2 progression, the clock slowed down. He's starting to go down the field a little bit more, had more passing yards in week 2 as well. And he used his legs lesser in week 2. So he didn't go off and just start running all of a sudden. So I think that this is a good thing for the Washington Commanders offensively because they are finally getting a quarterback that they could perhaps depend on for the long term. It is just more so now opening up the offense because I believe it is a bit conservative and letting him go down the field. And defensively, the Washington Commanders have a very bad defensive unit in the secondary. They give up a lot of big plays, and they also do not tackle well. A lot of missed tackles out there. So I think the Washington Commanders are going to be better than what they were last year. Not going to say that they are top of the NFC East or playoff berth. Next up, NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings have been very interesting, to say the least, because at 2-0, I don't think a lot of people picked them to be this good this early. Sam Darnold, he's looked very good. And I'm curious now to see what's going to happen because Justin Jefferson did go down for quad, even though there's reports saying that he feels pretty good in the facility. So we'll see if he can go in this next week. I don't believe in Minnesota long term. I think that the Detroit Lions are going to win this division, even though they lost a tough one to the Bucs. Got a chance to see what happens when you speed up their quarterback. He throws some interceptions and things like that. And so, look, I think the Detroit Lions from top to bottom are the best team in this division. The Chicago Bears have a little bit more to go. I think they have found something with Caleb Williams, but it is going to take some time to really get that going, especially with Keenan Allen being injured. You also have Rome Odunze. He's still a little banged up as well. And the Bears haven't utilized the running game. So that offense still has to figure out some things. Green Bay, a bit scary because of injuries. I think with Jordan Love in that situation, I think that you have Jordan Love. This is one of the favorites in the conference. Without him, relying on Malik Willis as a backup, I'm not sure that that offense really operates the same. And so that's why I'm kind of on the fence about Green Bay. If I were to pick a second place team, depending on how long Jordan Love is going to be out, I would say it would be the Green Bay Packers. But right now, it's hard to bet against the Minnesota Vikings, who have looked very good, considering that they have lost a lot of pieces from their last couple seasons. So next up, the NFC South. And so with the NFC South, right now, look, the Saints and the Bucs look very good. I didn't think that with Carr, he was going to be able to look this good this early for the Saints, but he has had some huge explosive plays. I think that he's been terrific for them. And I just like what they have on the outside, just being able to get chunk plays. And defensively, I talked about them being a top 10 takeaway team. I think over the last couple seasons, the Saints look like they're right there. Can they hold? And that's the bigger question. But I could see where they could be right there with Tampa Bay like they were last year to win this division. The Bucks, I think that they are eager to show that it wasn't a fluke. I like Baker Mayfield a lot. I like the fact that he has now got his deal, and I think he's out to show the league that, hey, he has finally gotten a place that believes in him. They're figuring out what the running game is like behind him now. I think that they're now incorporating another back that can go along with Rachaad White. So I like that a lot with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got a couple pair of wide receivers that can do their thing. Defensively, they pretty much had the same starters, even though they were a little banged up this last week. I think it was huge. They won against one against the Lions. So I think that they're still the favorite here, but they are going to be in a tight race with the Saints. Atlanta and Carolina. So Atlanta, look, I think that they should have been 0-2. They got very lucky against the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a questionable secondary again this year, which that bothers me a little bit with them, but I think that they're going to tighten that up. But the Atlanta Falcons just haven't looked very good in the passing game, and I don't like that about them. They're a very one-dimensional team, and I think that showed in week one. I think you're going to see a little bit more of that in this next upcoming week, and I just don't believe that Kirk Cousins has enough around him as far as the wide receiver standpoint to really open this offense up. It really operates on the running game first, and I'm not sure that is going to be enough to win this particular division. The Carolina Panthers giving up on Bryce Young. That's pretty that's sad, to be honest with you, because I think that, you didn't really give Bryce Young enough opportunities, I think, to really go out there and prove himself as the starter. I hope that he gets another chance in the NFL. And I just think that he didn't get enough playing time, I think, over the preseason. I think also, too, just the way that they built around him was not good enough. And so this team, very dysfunctional at this point in time. I think it's going to be tough for the Carolina Panthers. I definitely have them last in this division. Next up, NFC West. Seahawks have looked good. All right, 2-0. They've looked a lot like the Seahawks of old. They're just grinding out wins. They got another huge win this last weekend at 2-0, figuring out a way to get it to DK Metcalf. He is doing his thing. And look, they figured out a way to run the football. And so I like that about Seattle. Geno Smith has looked a lot like he did when he was the most improved player of the year, I believe. And so I like what Seattle is presenting, even though that the 49ers are back there. We'll talk about them next. With the 49ers, 1-1, got beat by the Vikings. Didn't see that coming. But what scares me with the 49ers is Brandon Ayuk has not looked very good, and he just signed that deal. Christian McCaffrey, I'm wondering if the Madden curse is real. He's been on the IR. And then with Deebo Samuels, he's going to miss multiple weeks with a calf injury. And so we're going to find out just how good Brock Purdy is as a passer, because now he has got some elite playmakers that are not on the field. Between Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels, I think they accounted for like 1,000 yards together as far as offense and receiving wise. And so that's going to be challenging. And so you're not really on the same page right now with Brandon Ayuk. It looks like the rust is there. And so the 49ers have a chance to slide. I think that their defense is going to be enough to carry them. But I think that Seattle might press them for this division, but I think it's going to be ultimately the 49ers at the end. Arizona, I think that Arizona is going to be an up and down team. I like the fact that they finally got it over to Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that was what they needed in the passing game, is certainly what Kyler Murray needed. Don't necessarily believe so much in Kyler Murray being consistent at this point. I mean, he's been very up and down. I'd like to see a little bit more here, even though they had a great win last week against a depleted Rams team. And the Rams, the Rams are in trouble. They have Cooper Kupp, he's on IR. You have the other wide receiver, he's on IR. Look, they have offensive linemen that are on IR, the tight end. Like, they have pretty much the entire almost a bulk of their starters are on the IR. So a lot of injuries at this point in time. And you wonder, is it going to be a situation where they might even shut down Matthew Stafford at some point if it doesn't look good? Because a lot of these players are out for 4 weeks anyway. If you don't get another win, you might be done for the season at this point. So I think it's going to be challenging for the Rams. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think that they're probably going to finish last in this particular division. And so when I look at it, who could possibly come out of this division? Well, one, I like the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles can come back and get back to where they were. I definitely like the Detroit Lions to get back to where they were. And then I would say my one team that I think has a sneaky chance of doing something is going to be the Tampa Bay Bucks. Gotta love what the 49ers are going to do. I think that the 49ers are going to be ultimately playing, if I were to take a look at this, maybe it goes right back to just the 49ers and Lions. I think maybe the 49ers and Lions, maybe to get out of the NFC East. I think that perhaps it'll be the 49ers again if they can go ahead and they can get healthy. So let me know in the comments what you think. I like 49ers. I like Lions. But there is a couple teams that I think could be a surprise pick in there. Like I said, it could be the Tampa Bay Bucks. They could very much well be in the NFC Championship game because they're rolling pretty well. I think that defense suggests that they might be there. The Philadelphia Eagles have been there before. So that's another team that I'm thinking could get there. So let me know in the comments what you think. This is Real Talk Sports with Rico. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.